Hey, what's up everyone? Ken here, and I wanted to do a classic toy review today. If you've clicked on the video, you're probably a fan of the 1980s toy and cartoon series Visionaries. The story took place on the planet Prismos, where technology had ceased to exist and the power of ancient magic now ruled the lands. To keep the peace, a team of warriors called the Spectral Knights, led by Leoric here, were formed. They were each given magical staffs and the power to form the animal representation that best suited their personality. In Leoric's case, it was the symbol of the lion for his courage and bravery. One of the many gimmicks of the toy line was to have these animal representations depicted as 3D holograms on the figure's chest and staff weapons. Now let's get right down to it and check out the figure itself. So we are taking a close-up look at Leoric. First thing you'll notice is that the figure is very well sculpted. The battle helmet is removable, of course, and Leoric has a very rugged and masculine feature, plus a Magnum PI mustache. The head is on a ball joint, so you can rotate it up and down. And here's a close-up look at the chest hologram and its roaring lion. The rest of the body is almost fully posable with ball joint shoulders, hips, and waist. Also, swivel joints on the arms and bendable knees. You can pretty much pose this guy in just about any action situation imaginable. It must be pointed out that the chest plate within the hologram is a removable piece and the hologram itself is an exposed piece with nothing covering it to prevent the 3D image from scratches or damages. This has made mint and loose condition figures very sought after on the secondary market. Here's a look at the back of the figure and the chest armor. Sorry for that butt shot, I was just trying to show you the production stamp that says 1987 Hasbro, made in China. The figure itself comes with a good range of accessories. Leoric is seen here with his steel whip, which gives him the appearance of a lion tamer. We suspect it is used to tame the ferocious forces which reside in him. The whip has a good length and can be held in either arm. He also has his power staff, and here's a close-up of the staff's lenticular image. The staff is somewhat oversized, but can be held by the figure in the upright position so long as you find that sweet spot to balance it just right. So here's Leoric, looking all spectacular and awesome with all his accessories attached and ready for battle. What say we do a quick size comparison with a few of his 1980s toy colleagues. Here's Leoric next to Duke from the G.I. Joe team. Both Visionaries and G.I. Joe figures are from Hasbro Toys and share the same action figure body types and articulation. However, the Visionaries figures were clearly scaled up larger, possibly to accommodate their bulkier chest hologram pieces and also to make them better suited to hold their oversized staffs. That's him next to Floyd Malloy of Mask. Now, Mars figures were somewhat tiny, but not the tiniest. That honor goes to the Astro Marines of Starcom. Now, I felt like doing this throwback look at the classic original Leoric from Visionaries after seeing the new relaunched Visionaries comic book from IDW Comics. Retro fans will remember a few short years ago when it was first announced that Hasbro Toys and IDW Comics would be reintroducing an entire slate of classic toy lines into a brand new range of comics that would tie in to their existing G.I. Joe and Transformers universes. This would include the return of Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, Micronauts, and the Visionaries. It was then mentioned that the saga of the Visionaries would be reintroduced through a crossover battle with the Transformers. Although, it would have been nice to get a proper Visionaries miniseries first to properly reintroduce the characters before force merging them with the entire cast of Cybertron. We as fans were still scratching our heads in joyful disbelief that such a concept could actually exist. If successful, the shared Hasbro comic universe would give birth to new toys, comics, and even feature films. But then the first issue of Transformers vs. Visionaries came out, and it was clear that all was not well. The creative forces at work had seen fit to not just update Leoric, but had in fact turned him into an entirely different character, as you can see here. Gone were the rugged jawline and Tom Selleck mustache. In its place instead was scruffy facial hair and dreadlocks. Now, I'm not saying that this is an entirely bad character design, but why did they need to name him Leoric? Now, they could have given him an entirely different name, perhaps like Dreadnought or Dreadful, whatever. This new design and approach could have been used for an entirely new character, perhaps with a darker, edgier, and grittier feel to exist alongside the existing characters that fans were already familiar with. As it is, starting the relaunch of the Visionaries with a radical redesign of its most popular and recognizable character lands the entire project on a wrong footing. Perhaps the changes seemed possible as Visionaries was a smaller property with a more niche following, and thus it didn't seem like these revisions would be rocking the status quo or be in risk of causing a fan meltdown. But I disagree. The new book's ambitions should have been geared towards fulfilling the Visionaries' die-hard 30-year-old fan base first, before trying to appeal to an entirely new generation of fans that would not immediately materialize, if at all they would. As fans, it's clear that we do not have any control over decisions like these. I mean, I certainly do not own the license, and neither do you. All we can do is raise our fists and voices into the cold dark sky and scream, "Why? Why? Why did you do this?" over and over and over again until we are finally resigned to our fates. But we do ask that those who do wield the power and creative control over these characters exercise greater care and consideration. Just to add, in 1988, Marvel Comics had put out a very well-produced Visionaries comic book that featured the original designs of the cartoon and toy line and remained very faithful to the spirit of the franchise. As a bit of trivia, the comic featured the early art of artist Mark Bagley, who would go on to do an amazing run on the Spider-Man series of books in the early 90s and co-create fan-favorite villain Carnage. So guys, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the new Visionaries relaunch and the Leoric redesign. Please do let me know how you feel in the comment section below. So guys, that's my look back at the classic Leoric action figure. I always wanted Leoric or any of the Visionaries toys as a kid. Yes, I did have goals even back then, and my aim was to have at least one key figure from every toy franchise that was bombarding our TV screens. Sadly, But understandably, my parents turned a deaf ear to my incessant crying and wailing at the toy department for these toys. Today, however, with eBay and disposable income, many collectors are able to realize their long dormant childhood dreams and fantasies. So thank you for joining me, and please leave me a like and a comment if you enjoyed this video. See you guys again soon.